Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, and welcome to all the Celtic fans around the world that tune into this video. Make sure that you do give the video a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're currently sitting on 17,799. We are trying to get to 18,000 before the end of the transfer window, and that would be absolutely amazing if you helped us achieve that, and me achieve that. There's no us, it's just me and the dog. She's down there. There's no fireworks going off this morning. Well, there was already. There was fireworks going off. What is it with Spanish? I love living here, but they set off fireworks at the most random times of day. Anyway, let's get into the Celtic transfer news. It's breaking news late last night. Paulo Bernardo was undergoing a medical examination on Tuesday night. Yes, Paulo Bernardo is finally going to seal his deal to Celtic. Celtic have managed to nail him down and say, look, just take the wage cut and come to the Celtic, man. Please do. We'll give you these bonuses if you get as many games. And let's face it, we're going to sell Matt O'Reilly, so you're going to get games anyway. That's exactly how they sold it to him. That is exactly how they sold it to Paulo Bernardo. But anyway, it is fantastic news. The Portuguese midfielder is set to join Brendan Rodgers' squad before Sunday's Premiership Flag Day. Woo! We got a player in. Jesus, what a choke on the laughter. And Celtic will punt it out saying, yes, we've made our squad stronger. Oh, God. You got to laugh. Anyway, before Sunday's Premiership Flag Day against Kilmarnock, Adam Idah's on-off move took a fresh twist last night. If you're watching the live last night, we did announce it on the live last night. This is why you have to subscribe to the channel and join as many of the lives as possible, because we do lives at other times that other Celtic podcasts don't, and we're trying to get as much information as we can to the Celtic support. And late last night, it broke last night that Adam Idah did not travel with the Norwich squad on Sunday. He said he was going to make his own way to the training camp. He never turned up at the training camp. He is in a huff and trying to push through the Celtic deal. It has been suggested by the Norwich manager. The Norwich manager has said that he will be dealt with internally. He will be he'll be fined. I think Celtic should pay the fine anyway and just get the deal done and dusted. But he didn't travel and he has remained at home. And even the Norwich manager said that the Celtic speculation is getting to the player. I think it's a case that Celtic have put in a bid and Adam Idah thinks it's an acceptable enough bid. Norwich are just playing hardball. The Norwich manager said before the ball was kicked pre-season, I want to see him in training. Adam Idah already told Norwich at that point that he wanted to join Celtic. And I think that I did say that the ball is in the court of the player. The ball is in the court of the player, and especially in this day and age. And I think Adam, although we've seen it happen at our club, let's face it, we've seen Haksabanovic take the hump. We've seen the Grumpy Greek taking the hump and going to social media and complain about game time. And it only ends one way. It ends on the player moving. So hopefully we get Adam Idah done and dusted within the next week. That would be fantastic if we get him done and the deal done. But we're still weaker. We're still weaker than we ended last season. Let's face it. We haven't strengthened at all. Yes, Brendan Rodgers can big up all the young boys coming through, but that is long-term. That's not short-term fix for the Champions League. That's not making us better for the Champions League. As it stands just now, one of the comments said that I read this morning, and apologies that I don't manage to read all the comments these days because there is rather a lot. But one of the comments said, we're not even strong enough for the Conference League. Never mind the Champions League. Tell me your thoughts on that. But as the deal edges closer for Paulo Bernardo, I expect Celtic, if he's passed his medical last night, I suspect Celtic will announce it later today at some point. It'll probably be more likely than be around about 5:30, 5 p.m, 6 o'clock Celtic Park time. That's the usual time that Celtic do put out these kinds of announcements. If Paulo passed his medical last night, he'll be up at Celtic Park today getting all these pictures taken again. A new 5-year deal at Celtic. So, although we do get one in the door, there are going to be several leaving this month. There are going to be several players leaving this month, and it still leaves us short, if you ask me, in the defence department. Now, Celtic have been linked with many defenders over the last couple of months, and they're all been in the region about 7 or 8 million. Are Celtic really penny pinching and wait until we get some players out the door before they buy in a defender? Now, whilst it is all good as getting the Paulo Bernardo deal done, Celtic fans still need to ask the questions. It was a way back on the 15th of July. Way back on the 15th of July that it was announced by Sky News, by a lot of the media, and that Celtic and Benfica have agreed a 3.5 million deal for Paulo Bernardo. It turns out it's 3.4 million. And it's now took the best part of 15 days to work out the terms with the player. Now, when Celtic had Paulo Bernardo last year, we had him on an obligation to buy, an option to buy for 6 million. They don't fancy him as a £6 million player, so they're got him down to 3.5. And we wonder why teams are lowballing us for Matt O'Reilly when we see the way that Celtic are acting. If we don't think that that player is worth 6 million, why should other teams think that Matt O'Reilly, for instance, is worth 18 million to 20 million? Now, we did do a poll last night. I did do a poll on the live, and I asked on the poll, did you think at the beginning of last season, now remember the season before when Ange left the club, the season that Ange's last season, before Brendan Rodgers came back to the club, Aaron Moy was keeping the one and only Matt O'Reilly out the team. Now, I asked the question on the basis of that from that season, not the season just past. Did you think that Matt O'Reilly was an £18 million player? Now, remember, they only paid 1.5 million for Matt O'Reilly from Fulham. That was the question. And unbelievably, we've got over 200 and odd people that voted on the half-hour live, even though there was well over 2,000, but people are obviously watching it on devices where they couldn't vote. And it was pretty much 50-50. It was 51% said yes, they thought he was an 18 million, 20 million pound player under Ange Postecoglou, even though he got not a lot of game time because Aaron Moy kept him out of the team. That's right, Aaron Moy kept him out of the team. And he only came to fruition with the club. And you've got to remember, when Brendan Rodgers came into the club, he said, his exact words, I've had to sit down and have conversations with players that Celtic were aware wanted to leave the club. And one of them was Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly came out during the pre-season and he praised Brendan Rodgers. He praised the way that he was training, and he praised a lot of things, which suggested that the fact that he wasn't a first-team choice under Ange Postecoglou and Aaron Moy was. Remember, Aaron Moy still had a year left on his contract when he decided to retire from the game. He did decide to retire from the game, and that allowed Matt O'Reilly to then step up to the mark. And so I asked the question, do you think that Matt O'Reilly was an £18 million player then? Yes, even the dog says it's unbelievable. Some people thought that it was. Anyway, that was the question on the live last night. And join the live tonight and see what Paul would do on the lives this evening. The lives generally take place at 8 p.m. Celtic Park time. Maybe a little bit quicker, but they're generally going for half an hour. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and join them. Now, the fact that the Matt O'Reilly, whatever happens with him, will happen. I think that he probably will go this window. Paulo Bernardo coming into the club. And it's taken such a long time to get the deal done, says that Celtic aren't working. For me, they're not working as efficiently as they should be. And the fact that we still have only one striker. Yes, we start the league this weekend, and we only have one recognised striker up front in Kyogo Furiashi. The club are obviously pinning their hopes on getting in Adam Idah for the season, but it does still leave us short, and we're still short in the striker department. And overall, the squad is a little bit weaker than what it should be if we're going to go into the Champions League and we're going to compete on four fronts. Let's face it, we play Hibs at Celtic Park just weeks into the season, 2 weeks into the season, we play Hibs at Celtic Park. And then if we're going to go on a run on that cup, the Scottish Cup, the League and the Champions League, we need a bigger squad. We definitely need a bigger squad. And for me, the left-hand side of defence is where we really need to be looking at. We need to look at someone that is stronger than Liam Scales, and we need someone in that is better than the one and only Greg Taylor. But Bosun Lawwell would not be going back to the B team. That has been decided by Celtic. He will not go back to the B team. So it has to be said he's either going to be in and around the first team this season, or he's going to be put back out on loan. Now, it's my understanding. I'm sure he's only got a contract until 20. He might only have another year or two on his contract. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of the younger players come flag day. Now there is a player at Aberdeen that a lot of Celtic fans have been saying that we should have went for, and Aberdeen yesterday rejected an offer of 3 million for Bojan. Yes, Aberdeen rejected an offer of 3 million for their striker, as they are looking to hold out for 6.5 million. Yes, Aberdeen want 6.5 million for their striker, and you know, he's probably worth. I think he is worth 6.5 million. Is he better than Adam Idah? A lot of people would say yes, and I think he maybe is as well. He's done it in the SPFL, scores a lot of goals for Aberdeen, but Aberdeen have rejected a £3 million offer. Initially, the initial bid from Espanyol, yes, Spanish team after their player, which is interesting, and it's interesting that they're holding out for 6.5 million. I wonder if Celtic went in and made an offer for the player, if it would still be 6.5 million, or if they turn around and say, no, we want more than that for him. So then I don't think that Celtic will be going for him. I think they're pinning their hopes on Adam Idah coming to Celtic. That's why it's taken so long. I think if Celtic did want to go for the Aberdeen player, they would have done it earlier in the transfer window, surely. And there's been no contact between the clubs whatsoever. Anyway, that is Aberdeen transfer news. It's because a lot of Celtic fans are saying, look, we should be going for that player. But there has been that bid, and it is not going to happen for Celtic. Other Celtic news this morning, a lot of people saying that Taylor... Rodgers could underneath Taylor upgrade, and everyone's going to be talking about Adam Idah this morning. Everyone is talking about Adam Idah, and reporter says that Wolves are not willing to sanction a player move to Celtic. Yes, Hugo Bueno, the 21-year-old who's been a target of Brendan Rodgers, Wolves are unlikely to sanction any move for the player to Celtic. So Celtic have to look elsewhere. I find it absolutely terrible that this late in the window. I mean, if we knew the players that we wanted, like Brendan says, they identified them way earlier this year. Why weren't offers made sooner? And if the club don't want to sell, let's move on and get the next target in as quick as possible, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, that is your breaking Celtic news this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. The hump of the week. On to the weekend. The countdown to the SPFL Premiership of 2024-2025 gets underway. Let's get ready to rumble. Champions again. Champions again, champions again, ole ole. Yes, on Sunday, Celtic Park will be adorned with smoke and fireworks set off by the PLC. The double standards of the PLC when they say, Greenbridge are letting off pyro and fireworks. It's not to be done. Yes, they will let them off, but it's okay when they let them off because it's them. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day to you that's watching this video. Yes, you, because not a lot of people make it to this point in the video. So if you have, thank you. A special thank you for me. And I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are watching this video. Hasta luego.